You are right in the middle.
Right in the middle. Good evening. It is Wednesday evening again, and welcome to another live stream with Ben and myself, Alex, at Hack Engineering. Your prompt to.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we've had quite a busy week, I think. It seems like yesterday we were doing one of these, and it was obviously a week ago, but I couldn't even tell you what's happened. A lot. Had cars going out, cars coming in, engines going out.
Engines coming in.
Yeah, engines coming in. Drama with the forklift.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Well, yeah, you name it. I think everything we've touched in the last week has turned into a bigger job than we thought.
Sometimes that is the way it goes. What is it? One 20-minute job is a rusted bolt away from being a 3-day ordeal.
Yeah, it's pretty much
never a truer word's been spoken.
No.
Of course, if you are watching, please do get your questions in the comments, and we'll do our best to answer them.
Yeah, we are reading. I don't know if people realise we actually read as we go.
yeah, click the like button as well. Always good to get a couple of likes. There's 4 people watching right now. None of you have pressed like, so greatly disappointed in that.
Shame on you.
Yeah. We've got a couple of questions come in through the week, as we normally do. We'll start with M3 E36 Saloon. He wants to know what carbon airbox recommended for an S50 B30. What carbon airbox do you recommend for an S50 B32? Any considerations for fitting?
Recommendation would definitely be a Carbonius airbox, which we can provide. They're just absolute works of art. There are others out there that are good, but we've used those and we know they're good and they've got actually really nice design. Some of them are kind of adapted E46 airboxes, whereas these are designed properly. They come with nice little bolt-on flanges. And
because obviously the ITBs do differ slightly on the S50, don't they? It's the S54, so having something in the scratch build is definitely going to help with airflow.
Yeah, and the breather and vacuum sort of connectors and everything like that all fit really nicely, and they make a mega noise. Considerations, nothing too mad. You'll just need to be running alpha N to get rid of the MAF. There are some airboxes that are a huge airbox with a MAF on the end, which is a bit of a waste of time, to be honest. So if you're going to do it properly, drop us an email and we'll get you sorted with a Carbonius. And yeah, job done.
Happy days. Have you ever had an oil leak between the valve cover bolt and washer? Yes. Not sure what engine you mean on that, but it's quite common for gasket failures, especially on pretty likely it's going to be BMW related, in all honesty. Yeah,
I think a lot of BMWs use a sort of cap nut almost that goes down with a big washer that squashes the rubber seal around it. If they start getting old, they will let oil up between the rubber and the nut, and then it will leak.
Yeah, obviously various models as well suffer from sort of cracked rocker covers, M50 magnesium alloy covers. They sort of corrode and connect, and pretty common to see leaks out of them as well. So it could not be coming from the gasket or the bolt and washer at all. Could actually be a hole in the rocker cover. Worst comes to worst.
Indeed, but yeah.
As of yet, we've not had any questions. So get typing. We will answer anything.
I've got a question.
What is it, Ben?
What's that on your head?
It's a hat, Ben. I had many complaints about my hair last week, so I put this hair piece in.
Very nice too.
It is proudly sponsored by K&N.
Nice.
If anyone else is watching, I will wear any merchandise.
For a fee?
For a fee, yeah, of course.
We had
a low fee.
We had a big shipment from K&N arrive this morning. So there is fresh stock on the website. A couple of new items. Check it out.
Big shout out as well to Wei Ming. I know he tunes in and watches a bit, but he heard our shout out for biscuits and refreshments, and he popped by on Monday with a big old bag full of blueberry muffins. Unfortunately, we've already eaten them, so we couldn't be eating them right now.
Beers.
And beers.
Yeah.
So thanks, mate. Greatly appreciate
I
that.
should have grabbed a couple for now.
Yeah. You'll let them in.
Yeah.
when will you be up and running with crankshaft regrinds and balancing? It's coming. Basically, we want to make sure the machine's as good as it can be. So that involves taking pretty much everything apart. It's got a couple of high pressure oil leaks in it. So although the machine functions, it pumps oil through itself at quite an alarming rate of knots. So we've got to take it all apart, put some new plumbing in it, give it a coat of paint. We've got a couple of upgrades we're going to machine and sort of make the machine, bring it into the 21st century, because it's not the newest of things. So that's not to say it's not a good machine, but technology moves on, so we're going to sort of incorporate that into our restoration of it. So it's hard to put a time frame on things, but it's definitely going to be in the months. With everything else that's going on here, it's pretty flat out at the moment. Both machine shop, website sales, workshop, we're all working nice and hard. So
feeling the strain.
Yeah,
but it's good.
So the crank grind, I'd say, gets pushed to the back, but you're not going to push that thing anywhere. It's just sat there waiting.
Yeah.
Sat waiting patiently.
It's only 7 tons.
Yeah. The most unique oddball engine you have worked on? E24 _ Tom.
Yeah. So I did see that one come in. Difficult one to answer. So where I worked before, Hack Engineering, we did a lot of, had dealings with a lot of one-off engines or engines that be one of 6 ever made, things like that for historic motorsport stuff. So they were definitely the most unique and sort of rarest. And I can't remember how else it was phrased. Oddball. Definitely some oddball stuff. Like old Offenhauser engines and stuff like that were very cool. Very ahead of their time as well. So old supercharged methanol fed V16s and things like that. In terms of as Hack Engineering, I can't really think what's been the most unique or oddball. I mean, Ian's engine that we're doing that's probably one of the most extreme engines, and also perhaps oddball in that it's remaining an M30, whereas for an E28 it's perhaps quite popular to convert to something else more modern or with more valves or whatever it may be.
Yeah, quite excited to get the ball rolling on that build. Yeah, it's going to be, everyone's very excited, actually. Yeah, we actually put some photos up of the conrods from it yesterday, or today, might be this morning. Pretty worrying, really. It just goes to show that you really need to be careful with what you're buying. Ian had no idea, thought he was buying the right thing, and we probably would have said the same. And having now seen it, it's really not pleasant. Yeah, not nicely made components at all. Not a lot of QC going on there.
No.
For me, Hack Engineering wise, do you remember that 1930s opposed Caterpillar? Yeah, so it was a rebore on it, so nothing too bad, but involved quite a bit of setting up. So it was fundamentally a flat twin, massive bore, not a lot of stroke, diesel. So it was actually a starter engine, which is pretty cool. So rather than on a big old 1930s tracked sort of bit of plant machinery, it was the actual engine that you fired up first to then engage a clutch that would then fire up the bigger engine. So rather than having an electric starter motor, it had its own starter engine, which is pretty cool. I'd say that's pretty oddball.
Yeah, I've forgotten all about that one.
Yeah, trying to think to other weird bits and bobs. We've had quite a few fair old motorbikes and whatnot, machining bits for them, which is always slightly interesting. I love working on the older stuff because you really get to it's cool to see where stuff has been, and you get stuff from time to time. You think stuff's moved on in the last 20 years. Actually, it's being done best part 100 years ago.
Yeah. I have just noticed that apparently our chat is disconnected, which would explain perhaps a lot.
I was going on the fact that it was that was before. 1 second, please.
Yeah, let's just try and see if we're missing.
Unable to connect to chat. Could someone please just write us a quick comment, see if our chat is working?
Yeah, there are comments. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Pop out chat, toggle time station participants.
Here we go. Right, I'll keep an eye on it on my phone.
This is a nightmare.
This is not high tech at all. I'll try popping it out.
Kaboom!
It's still not. There you go.
Oh,
actually, that's much better.
Oh, that's
something
a game changer. Look at that. We can
Yeah.
actually look at questions rather than our own faces.
Yeah, that's far more pleasant. Steve Emerson, I now know why you do the Q&A in there after my visit today. It is a lovely room.
Nice room.
Yeah, Steve dropped a load of parts down earlier for his M50B28 turbo build, which is coming on quite nicely, isn't it?
Yeah, some track time hero stories from Steve as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I missed out. I was very
he popped down with his E46 330D, which I thought was standard, but he's already been in there. It's got a few bits and bobs. I saw it's got some nice vented discs on the front, and
Team Dynamics and 7
yeah,
slicks.
like all sorts. And he's booked his track day, so he's waiting lockdown to be over, and he's heading up to Cadwell for his first few laps over around there. So yeah, what a hero, driving that up there, probably with like, I don't know, what would be like a generic thing that you wouldn't take on a track day in the back seat? Like golf clubs. He's taking his golf clubs up there.
Child seats or something.
Child seats, yeah, it was child seats. Maybe his Bratwurst grill in the boot, because I go everywhere with my Bratwurst grill. Yeah, all sorts. So yeah, he's going to be trekking up there in April to tear it around, and then hopefully driving it back. So yeah, good to hear a couple of stories about Steve. And obviously that's his sort of part-time track car until obviously we'll finish building his engine for his proper weapon.
Yeah, I do wonder if a couple of bits on it look like they're maybe borrowed from the E36 car, which fair play. Why not use it?
Yeah, definitely.
Dave Horam, did I miss out on some Carbonage chat briefly? Not sure when you tuned in, but yeah, we're just explaining basically how much we love those carbon airboxes, which Dave's car is very lucky to have one, along with some very trick other parts.
Yeah,
look forward to getting that back together.
Yeah, it's a nice bit of kit. If anyone does work in the shipping industry, you could try and hurry bits up, because I'm getting fed up of waiting for parts.
Yeah, that's an absolute
quite a few builds actually just waiting on stuff to come in and doing nothing really.
Yeah, it's unfortunately with everything come through border control and customs and whatnot, it seems to have had a massive backlog kind of effect on everything that's coming in. So anyone who has ordered bits and is having to wait a little bit longer than usual, apologies. It's unfortunately what we're up against. Obviously we do our best to have everything in stock that we possibly can, but here's what it is, and we'll always be honest. I think a lot of other suppliers will not naming names or trying to put anyone else down, but we get customers talk to us, and generally they quite appreciate an honest forecast, which we.
Well, it's not worse than actually buying something, being like, yeah, you can have it tomorrow. 2 weeks later, it's like,
could have bought it somewhere else.
Yeah, and all right, we'll probably do lose a few sales that way, but at least all our customers know what's going to happen.
I'd rather have fewer happy customers than lots of unhappy customers. So
definitely.
We've
had a couple of questions come through. One from James _Rankton, Harry P. Maguire, about crank hubs and capture plates. I'm guessing that's S55 related. Putting a lot of photos up about that sort of thing.
I don't know quite why, but today especially, actually, the phone's been ringing non-stop about them. It's an ongoing debate, I suppose. There's all sorts of people out there who really believe in the basically on them you can drill into the crank to mount up a new hub, and using those drillings you can pin the hub to the crank, which in my opinion is absolutely heinous. We've been through it so many times on videos and whatnot, but really to get any strength in that, using tiny little pins is not the way to do it. So we use the VTT splined crank hubs. I think VTT had a couple of dramas with a previous version, and unfortunately for them, it sort of raised a question mark over them. But if you do exactly what we've done and just ignore what the internet says essentially, and look into the raw engineering side of things, the VTT hub is far superior to anything else I've seen to date, which is exactly why we use them in everything we do. So I've got a couple of bits here. So you've got the crank hub here. So this is VTT one. You've got quite a small face here, which is what essentially the crank hub grips to the crank on, as from factory. Although it actually sort of grips further in as well as here, but this is what the face that people are drilling into. Which, if you look at the size of it, I mean, compared to my grubby nails there, it's it's so small. There's no way you're going to get any kind of strength from a pin in that. So the VTT ones have a splined snout to them, which actually cuts into the crank and locks in. So once that's in, you've got a hell of a lot more surface there and a hell of a lot more of an improved sort of fixing with that spline over a couple of little tiny pins that essentially don't do anything.
Well, I'm going to chime in, Ben.
Yeah,
I'm going to chime in because the pins aren't actually the problem, are they?
Not really.
We actually have to think about the job, and the job is done.
Yeah.
Well, 97% if this is done in the car.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest bugbear of any other fix on the market. Is the fact that you're doing. You're not machining anything because you're doing it with a pistol drill at 90 degrees in front of the car. So it's just that risk of getting swarf in there.
Yeah, and
it's my biggest worry with the other ones. I think in a ground up build, there are other options that would probably be as equal, maybe not quite as good, but But that's if you were wanting to clock up the crank and machine it properly with concentric to the centre line of the crank, which you can't do in situ.
Yeah,
that's the biggest.
And I think as well. It's if you're machining into that crank anyway, other than a really precise, really probably slow process.
Yeah, exactly.
You're basically going to absolutely destroy the strength of the front of the crank.
Yeah,
fill your engine with swarf, and ultimately, if that ever then has a problem again, it's just going to absolutely destroy the front of your crank. Whereas these are far more
just video on YouTube, and there are just people in there just with the front main seal on, just with the sump on, just drilling away with, I've got this bit of blue roll under here, that'll catch all this metal filings. It's horrific.
Yeah, and we've seen, even photos that other companies have put online, where you can see the swarf in there.
Yeah, the swarf's everywhere, like the holes aren't central, they're like
and they break through where that face is so small, and you are drilling with a pistol drill, a 90 degree, whatever it might be.
I think I saw one post of a guy making the holes with a spoon, Ben. It's just not good.
You might as well. Yeah, probably be stronger.
Yeah, probably.
The holes in that face actually, quite often seem to, by the looks of it, actually break through. And if you haven't got a complete solid bit of metal all around that hole, there's just no strength to it.
Yeah.
It is honestly just a load of rubbish as far as I'm concerned.
And we looked into it, didn't we? This is the problem. We need a solution. Let's look at every option, and that is the best option.
That's it's one of those things where we either don't do it at all, or we make sure we got the best.
It's not like we find a problem, need to find the solution, look at which product's going to make us the most money, and go for that. Because in the long run, it'll bite you in the arse if you won't that technique.
Yeah, we really
they're not the cheapest, but they're the best. So.
Yeah, we look at the way we do it, and that's that. So that's why we use that. Other questions that we've had are surrounding the crank bolt capture plate, which is one of these. I think there's a lot of misleading information out there about how these work and when you use them, when you go for a full crank hub. These are really very good if you are looking to stop the bolt that holds the crank hub into the crank from loosening, which is part of the problem with them spinning. So that stops it being able to come loose. It doesn't stop the outright potential for the crank hub spinning. Also, I've seen various bits of information where it's thought that if the crank hub does spin and this is on there, it's going to loosen the bolt as it does it, which is not the case. It's if you've got that much of a spin to it, you're absolutely nothing anyway.
That's the least of your worries, really.
Yeah, if that's really the way it's going, that's game over. But both of these options are in stock on the website. Generally, I'd always recommend a full crank hub fix, just for peace of mind. But if you are, for whatever reason, looking to kind of keep things simple, then one of those is an absolute must-do on any car. and yeah, plenty of customers are really happy with those, and we haven't yet seen anything fail with one of these, but it's, if you look at the way it all works, it's not a full fix. So
yeah, and likewise all the big power stuff. Generally, customers are reasonably sensible and obviously see there is a problem and go for the hub. So.
Yeah, we've got 600 plus horsepower cars running. Well, Gareth, that finished the day, is only running one of these. He's well aware of the risks involved. I think part of him just wants to see what happens, but he's only running one of those. Whereas we've got other cars running less power that are running a full crank hub fix. Even standard cars running full crank hub fixes that we've done. So. Just spend a bit of time. Do look back. We did a YouTube video about it before, where I kind of explained the differences between the two, which is well worth watching, at least before then making a decision. Yeah,
I'd like to say ring up or drop us an email and get you booked in. But workshop's pretty chocker at the moment. But if you want to book in a couple of months, then get us get in contact and we'll get you quoted up and get you in the calendar.
Yeah, I think we're well into May now. So, unfortunately, can't get you into too soon. But
I'm not going to lie to you, Ben. On this piece of paper are some questions. All the questions we have answered. We have yet to see many questions. I don't think anyone's really feeling it this week. So
I think we've been so manic that we haven't really been asking people to ask us.
Yeah, but I mean, there's people watching now, so let's write something.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Guy's opinion on the Carbonis CSL airbox setup.
Who's Guy?
I don't know.
We do entertain ourselves.
It's been a long day. I mean, what for? All the Carbonis bits are really lovely, properly made parts. So, in all honesty, our opinion is probably going to be good.
I mean, the way to look at them is sort of the quality of the resin lay actually inside. Because you get a lot of carbon that look pretty nice on the outside, and then when you start delving in, the attention to detail actually inside the airbox is pretty awful. Just trumpets are badly fitted in there and just not very nice work. Carbonis really are inside and out work.
They're essentially perfection. I don't think we've seen a single Carbonis part with a defect of any kind. Which is quite something when you're working with the complex shapes of airboxes and things like that. Go for it, get the Carbonis, drop us an email if you'd like that priced up. That's that.
Ben's a bit upset because he didn't get a pizza tonight. That's
I am a bit upset.
Quite a big bit.
Usually we get a pizza every Wednesday. Tonight, my dinner was a hot cross bun.
Yeah.
Sad times. If anyone does want to sponsor us with dinner on a Wednesday night, feel free to. You will get a generous shout out.
What happens if we get sponsored by I don't know, some awful restaurant? The awful restaurants are everywhere. Awful takeaway. Then we have to sit here and eat kidney soup.
I would probably just have to say that I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll eat most things, but we've also had quite a few questions this week just over the phone, a sort of general quizzing about custom mapping on F80 shape M3s, and generally that revolves around a stage 2 setup. So catless downpipes and air filters and spark plugs and bits. We generally find the Bootmod 3 stage 2 map, just there off the shelf one, is very good. If you do have custom sort of tuning ideas, you can actually request a custom map from us within Bootmod 3 and we can get you sorted.
Nice. You made a little trip across the country yesterday.
I did. I had to go and pick a gearbox up and drop bits around all sorts of places around the East UK, which is really good actually. I've visited Howell Race Engineering, who if anyone watches the Driftworks channel, the blue E30M3 that Phil's got is running DCT, which Gareth did all of that setup. And I believe quite a bit of the engine work on that. It's an S65. In fact, actually, that's one of my favourite cars out there at the moment.
It is cool.
Phil, yeah, so it's essentially, I mean, it's a track build. I don't actually know if it's road legal, but yeah, it's a E30M3 all caged up, proper suspension sort of wizardry going on, and a DCT gearbox, S65 engine. Looks like it works really well, and I think it's rapid.
From what I've seen on the cars Phil builds, he does build them to work, not build them to look nice, but then they end up looking nice.
Yeah.
His sole objective is to definitely make stuff that actually does what he sets out.
Yeah, I think it's form through function rather than over function, which is very cool. But Gareth has all sorts of interesting stuff going on. In all honesty, I don't know what I'm allowed to talk about, but twin turbo S85 projects and turbo S65.
There's that quad engined S65 ice cream van as well.
Yeah. Sadly not. That would be mega.
How would you even
how many ice creams would you have to sell to cover the fuel bill?
Have a V8 linked to independently on each wheel.
Yeah.
Do you reckon you could you vary the revs enough that you get turned?
Tank steering.
Like tank steering by.
Answer in the comments.
Yeah, if anyone has built one of them, I'd be quite interested to hear.
Yeah. Gareth's also working on some really cool DCT bits, which is largely what he's known for. But actually, he's an incredibly clever man. Does all sorts. So looking forward to some sort of new products and potentially services to be offered with his help and cooperation. Anyone looking to put a DCT gearbox on something that isn't, didn't have one originally, give Gareth a shout and have a chat through, because there's a lot of misleading information out there. But it can be done. And also his Porsche PDK gearboxes in the back of Lotuses and things like that. Yeah, very cool stuff. That's well summed up, I think.
Quite fun.
Yeah. Should we talk about your forklift truck mishap?
The forklift truck mishap. I'll set the scene. It's a Saturday. Spring is approaching from the Hack Engineering HQ. The birds are tweeting. The sun is glistening from behind a cloud. Lewis Firth turns up in this massive Ford truck. It must have been 20 foot off the ground. All right, it wasn't that big. It was just a Ford Ranger with some big old tyres on it. Anyway, so Lewis was just picking up his S54 refresh, which is going in his Tarmac Rally car, I think. And I said, no worries, I'll borrow the farmer's forklift and I'll crane it into the back of this big old truck. No worries.
Bearing in mind as well, I had a car on the ramp that I was frantically trying to finish while the customer was waiting.
So if you had to break down in a 4-ton forklift, where would you break down? Outside the unit, so you couldn't get anything in or out?
Yeah, obviously right in the doorway.
Yeah, so that is what I proceeded to do. And it turns out that JCB 926s really don't like priming after they run out of diesel.
And we should say as well, it wasn't it ran out completely, it's just had a load of sludge in the bottom of the tanks. Very.
I'll always blame the last guy though, because I never use that thing, and the one time I do it, why don't they leave with some diesel in?
Yeah, of course.
But anyway, we pushed it across the yard, didn't we? 4 tons.
That was like a scene out of The World's Strongest Man/Men. I thought
it was out more like 24 hours in A&E or something like that. Two blokes had a cardiac arrest.
It wasn't fun. Joe F has commented back again. Don't want to make you feel bad or anything, but I'm stuffing my face with the Dominoes. That's exactly what we should have been doing.
Yeah.
It
was a shame.
It is what it is. Too late to order. With the Carbonis CSL airbox, do you recommend going map sensor or just the air temp sensor route? Have you done the mod yourself before? I've done both. In all honesty, I think Alpha N, the MAFless or MACless kind of sensor route, gets a bit of a bad rep for being jerky and all sorts. And ultimately, yes, it has its flaws, but 99% of the time it is absolutely perfect and perfectly good enough. That's generally what we tend to do. Going for the map sensor route, you need to have the ECU upgraded to HP or CSL spec, which there seems to be fewer and fewer people doing. The boards are really quite fragile, and I think with fewer ECUs around, it's one of those things that people just don't want to take it on. So the map sensor route is a nice way of doing it. I wouldn't say it's necessarily worth it. It's nice to do if you've got all the time in the world and you really just want to make it nice, but Alpha works perfectly well. So that would be my choice, and is what I ran on the Touring when it worked many moons ago. There you go.
How long have you owned the Touring?
11 years.
So away, we're getting up to like almost been off the road longer than it was on the road.
Yeah, can't be far off. Yeah, I was thinking about that quite a lot. Yesterday as I was driving around.
11 years. Madness.
Yeah, I was not very old when I bought that. Can't remember what insurance cost me, but it wasn't pleasant. It was only a 323 then. There you go. I quickly spiraled into S54 powered silly track car thing. But yeah. How old were you when you got your first car? That wasn't my first car, just to point out.
Oh, like 19. I've waited ages. Just rode motorbikes, Ben. In the cold, wet rain. Yeah, waited for the right one. I was just too tired to pay for car insurance, Ben.
Yeah.
I would rather get wet.
Yeah. What was your first car?
A freewheeler with a Honda CBR 1000 motorbike strapped to the back. So it was like a little 2-seater gullwing doors so didn't have reverse. So whenever I went somewhere, I had to plan to park on a hill so I could roll back out of the parking space. I think the best bit was the day I picked it up. I rode up to Essex with my old man on a motorbike. He said, "Yeah, I'll drive it back," and we got to Dartford Crossing. It must have been, it was like 30 degrees that day. It was a hot day, and he was sat in this tiny little glass bubble with no aircon, barely any fan, and a 1000cc motorbike like 4 inches from his head. And of course, the gullwing door he couldn't open. This was pre-dark charge. You had to pull over and throw the change in the little thing. So I had to overtake him. So I'll pay for him. She's like, "What?" I was like, "The guy behind me. I've got to pay for him." Yeah, so that was it.
Dramatic. Did it have a handbrake?
Yeah, a handbrake.
Okay. How did that work? Front wheels or?
How did the handbrake work? Yeah, maybe it had another caliper on the rear. It was definitely rear.
Okay.
Yeah. Spun on a roundabout once, went out the exit backwards. Obviously couldn't then reverse my way out of the situation, so had to get out and give it a little push, and had terrible steering lock. And then one day when I was coming home, I was going around a corner, not going too fast, and the front wheel decided it didn't fall off, the stub axle snapped in half.
Oh wow.
It was like a 92cc 4 horsepower micro car thing.
Yeah. And
it just snapped straight off and went bouncing off down the road, and I skid into the hedge. I fixed it, but I wasn't too keen on driving after that. In all honesty,
fair enough. Wow. If anyone wants to comment what their first cars were, see if they're more or less unique.
Small, French, and terrible will get us very excited.
I used to have a particularly terrible Peugeot 106 1.1 litre 3-door.
I think I heard you say once that's
it's my favourite car ever. It was awful. But yeah, it meant that I could have the touring set at home, not commuting quite a long way every day.
Actually, 3 answers we need in the comments box. First car, you passed your test. What's the third one going to be?
Favourite car you've ever owned?
Favourite car you've ever owned. Everyone watching, there's 10 of you. I want 10 comments in the next minute with those 3 things.
Yeah. What was your favourite car you've ever owned then? The Renault 4?
Probably the Renault 4 is now in pieces. I was like, it's terribly slow. It just had a lot of nice memories in it, Ben. Us cruising around in the Renault.
I do remember that summer where we were driving around in it. Well, A, we could go to the pub. B, we drove around your Renault 4. It was sunny outside.
Bright yellow.
Boiling hot.
See, now the thing is, Ben, about the Renault 4 F6 Spanish model, was the Spanish model had a far higher roof than the French model. Not many people know this, and it leads to its rarest status.
Wow. That is thrilling.
Oh, look, I thought I was going to drop down 2 viewers. Actually, it went up 2 because I started talking in detail about it around.
Yeah, that's quite something. But yeah, we cruised around that. I don't think you'd ever even taken the wheel off and put a jack under it. Chucked it in for an MOT. Turns out there wasn't really a flaw.
Fiberglass and undersill.
Yeah.
Cardboard. No, for the cardboard.
Yeah. It looked quite convincing.
Someone has spent more time making it look
good
than they could have just
like the glue bit. They must have spent ages making that look like a weld.
On that.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. First one's in.
Oh,
Jason Mead. So Joseph's car's in with us today, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it's. We're finding the flaws of previous workmanship with Jason's, I'm afraid, and Jason, I will give you a call in the morning and explain because that's why my face is covered.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of Jason's car actually on your face.
Yeah, it's proven to be a bit of fun with. It's got a very nice exhaust on it, but whoever fitted it, or whoever took the old exhaust off, whatever it was, it's unfortunately left some unfortunate side effects.
The Mark 1 Punto Sporting. Tell me your thoughts.
Oh, Mark 1 Punto.
Good luck finding one of them in.
Yeah, I have to say I've been quite lucky enough to drive on those.
Tell me all about it.
So, my dad's side of the family are Italian, so I was over in Italy. It's quite a few years ago. Yeah, visiting relatives and whatnot, and my, I guess, second cousin of mine would be.
I always get worried when a story says, when you hesitate about what status the cousin was, when I wonder where the story's going.
My dad's cousin basically said I needed a car to drive around in and threw me the keys to a Punto. Mark 1. Left hooker. I can't remember the mileage or anything. I think the exhaust was falling off. It was mega. I had a great time in that. Yeah.
You went to Italy last year, didn't you? I managed to get a speeding ticket and a 1 litre Lancia.
Yeah, I had a second speeding ticket of my life. Both of them in 1 litre European hatchbacks. It's quite unfortunate. Have you ever been caught speeding?
Only on a motorcycle.
What's the offence?
Speeding then.
Well, but how much?
I was exceeding the speed limit.
Was it a 40 limit? Was it?
I think I was doing 56 in a 40.
Right there. I think,
Then I got lost. Basically, it was quite annoying actually, Ben. I'm out on a little motorbike jaunt with the boys. Nice Sunday day. Go out on the bikes with the boys. Anyway, and I'm on like a BMW K75. Everyone else is on like 400s or 600s.
The thing about the K75 is actually it's the bike of choice. It's far smoother than the larger engine.
Oh, tell me more.
That's Alex's favourite fact. He's told me about 18 times. Anyway, carry on.
My favourite fact is actually that Yakult has 18 billion bacteria in it. But so we get onto the M23. They all tear off doing 70 miles an hour, and I was only doing 50. If we like double the numbers in this story, so we pull onto the M23, and I roar up to 50 mile an hour, and they roar up to 70 mile an hour, and they're weaving in and out. You know, we're yobs, we're young.
Yeah.
So I managed to keep up for that just about. Getting to Brighton, probably went to McDonald's and had a milkshake or something wild like that. And coming out of Madeira Drive, they managed to get out in front of a car. I thought, no, I'll die if I pull out in front of that. So I let them go. Then I pulled out behind this car and was playing catch up to catch them all up. So didn't massively know where I was going. And went straight for a speed camera.
That is a nightmare.
And I was like, damn it, I've been for a speed camera. Best try and find them. So I took the wrong turn, ended up in a tiny little housing estate. Just gave up, left them, and went home.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's the story of my speeding ticket.
Had another one.
Whoa.
Simon Ward. This is a good one. First car MG Metro.
Yeah.
I've never driven a Metro. In all honesty, probably awful, but still got a
I remember an apprentice at the last place I worked bought this, it only had like 50 miles on it or something. This old woman had owned it. I think it was her husband's. Her husband died in like 1992.
Yeah.
Beige. This thing, it was awful.
Yeah. I had a friend as well with a pale blue one. A similar story. It had more miles than that, but not many.
My friend's husband died.
No, it was blue.
This one was beige. Okay. There's nothing similar in this story at all.
Well, they're called little MG, not MG, but Metro, next to no miles on it. But I think it's pretty awful. It looked like it's always bouncing down the road in it.
Yeah.
But they're still quite cool.
They are cool. Matey down the road.
Yeah,
He's got a nice Connor red one, gold mini lights on it. It's smart. It's cool.
Yeah,
and he drives his daily.
Yeah,
fair play to him.
It's probably awful.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But yeah, I love it. Favorite car, Fiat Strada Abarth. We were talking about those the other day. I was trying to remember what they were called, which they answered. They're like the Uno with the quad headlights.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Never really, other than that.
I reckon if he might have bought that new, and I reckon within 2 weeks, probably need a set of arches, maybe a sill or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's more crime.
The Fiat Stilo, I quite got a soft spot for the Stilo. 1.2.
Is it the Maria or Maria? But the earlier than that, the state sort of yeah.
Fiat makes they were called. God awful cars, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
Yeah. I want all of them.
Yeah. Well, we've got a lovely Punto van at the moment.
Oh,
I love that van actually.
1.3 JTD. Mile munching.
Yeah, there's like 63 to the gallon if you're not. Well, if you're doing less than motorway speed.
Yeah, it does 65 to the gallon if you never want to get where you want to go.
Yeah. If you don't mind going 30 mile an hour everywhere, it's good. But yeah.
It is a nice little van, I must say.
We should probably share a little story. Simon there saying that his favourite car was also terrible. Probably our most characterful van that we've ever owned was a Ford Escort van we got rid of fairly recently. Everyone warned us that they were awful and we just ignored them.
The difference
out they were right.
Here though, Ben, is he's saying his favourite car was awful. If I ever get to the point where I say that Escort van was my favourite ever vehicle, I'm done.
Yeah, that's a fair point. You knew you bought another one.
Where do I begin? The Escort chairman. So you've got an Escort van, Mark 6. They did them in the Mark 4 as well. Really quite rare.
Yeah.
Basically, with a little ramp in the back, extra windows, and like an extra 2 foot put on the roof, like a disabled mobility van. Most beautiful vehicle I've ever seen.
Problem is, with my newfound knowledge of the rear floor of an Escort van, I wouldn't want anybody.
I'd also be a bit worried with the extra drag because that thing was slow as it was.
Yeah. Actually, well, yeah, it had a roof rack on it when we bought it, and it's bad when you can notice the difference with getting the roof rack off it. But,
I hope the guy who bought that's not watching.
No, I hope not as well.
Actually, you know what? He got a bargain really because we put loads of new bits for it. Did all the welding on it, got an MOT on it, and then thought, right, we're done. Yeah, it's you've got to know when you've got to quit, especially if it's a van you actually need to rely on to pick stuff up.
When you spend about 3 times as much as you're selling it for, that's when.
But if it was, what's it called? Wheeler Dealers, we paid $1,600 for the van, Ben. We only spent 4 weeks welding it up, 500 quid on parts. We sold it for 1,700.
Yeah.
We've made a cracking £100 profit.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with this, Ben. I'm really over the moon.
I think I've done a video recently saying how much money they've made out of selling cars, and what's a load of nonsense. I haven't watched it. But...
I've seen another video. Is how much money they'd made if they just bought and kept the cars. And there's a couple of them that in like 20 years ago they were selling. I can't remember exact models, but like some of them are tripled in value to current prices. Some of
the like E36 M3 they sold for a lot of money, which some of the time, as they all are, but. Yeah, they had a Porsche 928 on some really quite nice, rare BBS RS wheels that I think they gave them away and sort of for standard ones.
Yeah.
What were they thinking? But there you go.
Mike Brewer. If you're watching tonight, Mike, which I expect you are, because we're obviously the international success.
Yeah. He's one of the
events. But you're not really very well liked by many people, I feel.
Yeah. If you're watching and you've kind of just tuned in, do let us know what your first car and favourite car that you've ever owned are.
And the year you passed your test.
And year you passed your test, sorry. Yeah.
1999 is the oldest one. Has anyone here still got a paper licence?
Oh, blimey.
Fold out sandwich wrapper. Saying as if I've got.
You don't even need a counterpart anymore, do you?
I don't.
Yeah.
Some great.
I haven't actually explained my first car, although I think most people know about it. But got a little Hillman Imp. Well, it's actually a Sunbeam Imp Sport. If we're getting into car nerdiness, which is next door, which we're putting a BMW K100 bike engine into, which I must have...
Can't do it. That engine was the greatest thing that ever came out of this country, if we're in Scotland. But yeah. How dare you, Ben?
I don't know, the Coventry Climax probably came from Coventry.
But, yeah.
But yeah, it was... it was an awful car, but it was a great first car because it taught me how to fix stuff every single weekend of my life.
That's why you had no social. Well, you had no friends. You didn't do anything for 2 years solid.
It was just me and my imp.
Yeah, you went to a lot of stuff, but you just never got there.
Yeah, I do remember. Years ago, sort of first weekend at workplace, worked in a cafe. Turned up at their Christmas do, and you couldn't see me in the car park because there was steam coming out of the exhaust. That was the first time the head gasket went. Barely made it there, having had the fuel tank out in the snow, changing brake masters.
Wasn't their job literally 4 miles away as well?
Yeah, it wasn't far.
Yeah.
Tell you what though, that car in the snow, terrible old cross plies that were well overdue changing.
Mm-hmm.
Going up the big hill. Which
am I right thinking it was the Duddleswell nursery?
Mm.
So fundamentally, you were running the car in the Duddleswell dyno.
Yeah, every day.
Every weekend.
In the snow, there's all sorts of 4x4s stuff parked all the sides. That little hill, just straight up hill, no problem whatsoever.
Hero.
Maybe it's because it's more foolish than the other drivers.
Maybe it's because all the steam was coming out of the bottom and melting the snow as you drove over it.
Yeah, or bits were falling off the sills and acting like grit. But yeah.
You must actually be quite rare for a 30-year-old, sorry not to rub it in, to have 2 vehicles, your first car and what, your third car? Fourth car?
Touring was, third car.
So actually have your first and third car still in your possession after 13 years.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good going.
It's because I haven't driven any. But yeah, I'm not very good at selling cars. I'd say that's fair.
It wouldn't be fair, would it?
No. I think my second car is probably my most normal first car, which is a 1-litre Volkswagen Polo, which I got caught speeding in. It's quite silly.
Wonder if your mum's watching.
She knows.
She knows?
She knows I got caught speeding.
Oh, that?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Interesting. Tell you what would be good to look at, have we got rods here that were photographed earlier in the week?
Yeah, quite possibly. Oh, it could be in this.
We'll just run through with you if we've got them still. Explain some of the quality defects on these rods, just so that if you look at let's say rods, you know what you're looking at, because these are quite shockingly bad, to be honest.
This week on Rods with Ben and Alex. Right, the first thing you'll notice is the rods come like this, and we have our bolts separate from our rods. I take this as like the first thing you see is like this is a bit of a this danger sign. It's a big red light flashing. A decent rod is going to come with the fasteners torqued down in the rod, and they would have actually been like finish homed using the end correct fastenings, and that really helps with sort of virality and just decent practice, and it's just better. It is just better because you don't get any. Especially, I mean, those are not necessarily sealed in a pack, but quite often you see them. Some come with bolts sealed in a pack, which means you have absolutely. You can categorically say that those bolts were not in that rod when it was home, and you don't know what they used. It makes me laugh as well. You get some rods where you can you buy the rod and you can choose what bolts you want, and what you need to. The rod needs to be honed with the bolts that it's being used with, because that will affect the shape of it, and you're honing it to be perfectly round at that fastener sort of stretch with that fastener. Yeah, that's it. The next warning sign we've got is, of course, we've got a box with some rods in it and some bolts. That is it. It is a box. It says connecting rod on the outside. There's a part number on there, but that's all I've got. If you buy a decent rod, you've got a data sheet on there, and the minimum bit of data on that is going to be either your stretch figures for if you're going to be doing the fasteners up to stretch, or your torque figures. If you're buying a good quality rod from Arrow or the like, you'll likely get like quality control check numbers, batch numbers, part numbers. you'll get a sheet that will tell you how to break down what the part numbers mean.
Yeah.
More information, the better, really. And as we can see in this box, we have none of that.
I'd be quite curious as well to see what these weigh up at. I don't know. If
weight is pretty important. So this one weighs 572.5 grams. I can tell you we had a 2 gram variance across the range. So this one, for instance, is 571.4. So we're 1.1 gram difference. But yeah, the biggest sort of variance in the actual whole box was 2.2 grams. If we compare that with, say, a set of arrow rods that we measured up earlier in the week for an S54, they had a 0.2 gram variance. So,
which actually, pretty much every other set of arrows I've ever weighed have been 0.1. Like they are really,
exactly.
Yeah,
they're nice. They're nice. Arrow are just nice. These are just not nice. A couple of other things that are pretty hideous. These have been obviously honed with maybe like some P40 sandpaper, something like that. It's very coarse, which isn't really going to help with your bearing crush. And I think the biggest problem with these is actually this. Oh, this isn't the worst rod. I'll show you anyway. There's a couple that are far worse than this. Sort of in this recess here, hasn't been machined properly, so the actual head of the bolt is sitting nastily against the bottom cap, which is going to definitely cause bearing fatigue after a while. Worst case scenario is the head of the bolt's actually going to snap off. It will crack and fall off, and then the bottom of the rod will fall off, and
make a really horrible
mess. Other nasty bits we've seen is quite hard to clock up, but I'm pretty sure these bores haven't actually been bored parallel, so they're not in line with each other, which is just pretty nasty. Little end bushes aren't completely round when we measured them up. Also got some really horrific bores. I mean, I don't know if you'd want your little end fed by a manky old hole like that. I definitely wouldn't. What else we got?
Everything. Wasn't there some of them still had bits of swarf wedged
yeah, that was a nice one. There was
the tang grooves.
Yeah, the tang groove sitting in the rod here actually had a big old bit of swarf wedged in it. Bearing in mind, a rod, generally, if it's decent component, is take it out of the packet, and it should be good to fit, even though you should be carrying out checks. A decent quality component would be more, for your amateur engine builder, would be ready to fit. Where these, if you fitted them straight into your engine without doing any sort of pre-checks or measuring, would cause failure pretty imminently.
Yeah, which is pretty shocking. But yeah, looks like a happy shopper version of a Conrod. Yeah, it's like a Conrod that's designed to look good in pictures, but it hasn't actually been finished at all.
I don't want to use any names, but Chris said he would go with a max speeding rod over this rod.
Yeah, which is saying something. Yeah, it's really quite concerning. Also, it's always worrying when you do have a rod that's of this kind of quality. I can't grab a bolt. I mean, these look like a genuine ARP bolt, but yeah, we've seen plenty online that they do a convincing job of looking like they come with ARP bolts, and actually they're a fake ARP, which is quite concerning because And
I can see why people do fake ALPs, because that's about 12 quid.
Yeah.
If you want to buy a decent bolt, and it's not a rip-off, there's a reason they're 12 quid, and it's because they're repeatable, they're all exactly the same, the tensile strengths are exactly the same, like, they're the same, Ben.
Yeah.
If you start chopping and changing and using and copying them, made with a lesser quality material, you could have air bubbles actually in the middle of the bolt, which is just
or even if you haven't, you can have a thread that looks alright by eye, but if it's not perfectly uniformed, it's not going to spread the load evenly throughout the ball it's in. There's all sorts of reasons. Even ARP washers if you want a washer that is perfectly flat and really, really nice, there's a huge difference between a quality washer and just an off-the-shelf, fairly standard washer. So ARP fasteners are what we use for pretty much everything, and there's a reason for that. You can get different head stud kits or whatever it may be, but there's no messing around with ARP. It's good stuff. Does the job, and you don't doubt it. Whereas I'd always be a bit stressed about using anything else. So that's that. Here's Alex lovingly modelling a box of.
Today on the ARP part number challenge.
Oh,
Ben, 201 4602. In with a hard one. In with a real. I don't want to show you up there, but I don't think you're going to get it.
M30 head stud kit. That's a guess. Main stud kit.
You are correct.
Yeah.
Not listed as an M30 though, Ben.
Oh.
Listed from the vehicle that they have come from. For 3 points, name three BMW models that had the M30. Well, it's got to be the three that are listed here. But
okay, 24.
Oh, sorry, it's not actually that in depth.
Oh, okay.
All I want is the
635,
one.
535,
Yeah.
735.
Guys, got it. They actually are listed 535, 635, and 735. So unfortunately,
yeah, I didn't think of them in the right order. Shocking.
Next up, we have the 201 5002.
M50 main stud kit, I think. S54 main stud kit.
Boom.
We just had a little comment from Luke, who's M54 we're building at the moment, about saying they look like FCP rods. I don't know about FCP, to be honest. They're not. The thing you'll find with a lot of cheaper rods is they are all made in the same place, same factory, just rebranded. We get probably 3 emails a week saying, this is our Conrod factory. We can make rods to your spec, blah, blah, blah. And it's, unless you are properly quality controlling something like that, it doesn't matter. It can be your spec in terms of rod length and what you want it to be, but whether it actually is that, who knows? And, that's why we trust guys like Arrow who, they're based in Leicester. I've been there. I've met the guys. I've seen the machinery they've got. And you're getting an absolutely bang on product. There are good other brands as well. It's not all about Arrow. Certainly Arrow are our favourite, but if you see it listed on our site, it's because we've used it and we know it's good. There's not really any messing around with Conrods. It's
from my experience as well, Ben, you've got to be really, really careful when you get emails from people asking to use their rod.
Yeah.
It can get you into a bit of trouble.
It can.
Just from my experiences.
But yeah, it's one of those. It's the same with pistons as well. I think it's you can buy forged pistons on eBay, and everyone says, "Oh, they're forged. They must be good." And forging is just a manufacturing process. It doesn't mean the design, doesn't mean the material they've actually used is any good. Doesn't mean the machining's any good.
What we should actually do is a little video of Chris, our engine builder's reaction when you give him a box of nice components.
Yeah.
Like if you want to get Chris
get a little hidden camera.
If you want to get Chris in a happy mood, give him a box of a nice set of CP pistons, and then 20 minutes later he measures them all up and he goes, "Oh, are they nice, Chris?" Yeah, 0.1 weight variance, skirt diameters are all exactly the same. It's the age-old saying, isn't it? You get what you pay for.
Yeah. Camshafts as well. Actually, we've been having a bit of a chat about this week. I won't mention any of the names that we weren't saying nice things about, but we really only tend to use Schrick because we have had bad experiences with others. But yeah, Schrick. It's a bit like a decent set of rods or whatever. You just download the PDF that has all the specs, all your lift at various points, where you're measuring it from, where you're setting timing. The quality of them is absolutely amazing, and that's that. You know it's good. You put it in. You do your measurements. You've got something solid. Whereas,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we have seen others that have literally snapped cams in half and things like that. Which it's all any cam manufacturer will just blame the installer, and it's actually
no.
You do have to be really careful when you're installing cams, and it is possible to cause damage to them. But when we built it, we know it's right. It's pretty frustrating. As far as we're concerned, Schrick are the only ones to really fully trust. We're up to 15 viewers now.
15 viewers, but we have just clicked over the 1 hour time slot. We have.
If anyone wants to quick fire, tell us what their first car was when they passed, favourite car, and we'll discuss that. But you have about 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
2 minutes. Did you ever say what your favourite car you ever rode? Oh, I ran a 4. He did.
Ford Cortina Mark 5 P100.
Yeah?
Yeah, awful. Awful. I bought it.
Yeah.
That looks cool. Bit of rat rod. Whole back end was made of plywood. Looked just like the original, but was made of plywood then.
Wow.
You know what's worse than a plywood back end? A rotten plywood back end. Yeah, unfortunately I had one of them as well.
It wasn't even metal and it was rotten.
Yeah.
I think
very tail happy though.
Probably the worst car I've owned was probably my 1 litre Polo. I owned it for 3 days and the cam wore its way out of the cylinder head, which obviously didn't just do that in 3 days. It was historical issues. Volvo stories.
I believe Lloyd has logged in on like his YouTube account from when he was 14.
So anyone who doesn't know who Lloyd is, usually we spend all of our summer weekends over in Ireland or the Isle of Man running race bikes for Lloyd, who is an absolute lunatic and unhinged. Yeah, does road racing. Very talented. Real joy to work with this. It's difficult. It's nice to have your weekends back over the summer, but I really miss sitting in an Irish field next to a Portaloo.
Yeah. Well, I saw it on day one. Come the end of the weekend, you don't want to be anywhere near that Portaloo.
No, you do not.
I've always found it's a very calculated risk using that Portaloo, because you can go in thinking, I'm not going to need a dump in 3 days. But the sensible person tries to squeeze the dump out on day one because the toilet's going to be all right. If you hold on and then it gets to Sunday afternoon and you need to take that dump, you're going to be sitting in a pool of piss.
That is a mistake I made, and it was the worst experience of my life.
Yeah, we've all been there. So now I always like to get into the paddock, like straight in there. We've got to empty out.
Yeah, day one, it's going to be bad. Be like, I'm not sure, maybe I can hold on. Day two, it's just getting worse and worse. Yeah. And you get to a point where
or at the Cookstown, which is a little Irish road race, you do hold on until so that's a Friday Saturday race. You think, hold on. You wake up mid Saturday night and you think, I'm gonna have to go. You get up and it turns out actually they've removed all the toilets from the paddock. They put it, pretty much everyone goes away Saturday night except the English folk who haven't got their ferries till Sunday evening or stuff. The Irish fields are luscious. That's all I can say. Volvo stories. So anyway, Lloyd's a lunatic.
Yeah,
we must have only been 17, 18 at the time. Lloyd goes, I'm going to take the parents 940, 2.5.
Well, a V70. Was that previous to that? I don't really know.
Yeah, it must have been a V70. Yeah.
So the red one.
The red one in the field. Because I'm going to take it out. It's a bad idea. You're a nutter. I've seen you riding a bike. I was like, no. Because come on, it'll be fine. Soon enough, we get out on the dual carriageway. I don't even think I've already have a license at this point. And we're doing like 100 mile an hour, like trekking along the A26. I'm like, oh God, I'm going to die. Somehow we get down to the roundabout, don't crash, we're on our way back. We get onto Lloyd's Road. I'm like, yes, I've survived. Lloyd takes a corner, I don't know, it must have been going 80 or something. Turns into this corner and the back starts hopping. And the next thing I know, we're going down the road sideways. And then I think we were going along, one full revolution, and then 180 degrees plus 20 degrees. We ended up back in the ditch, backwards. and I just sat there like, oh my god, I'm alive. And
Nice.
yeah, obviously his parents didn't know they borrowed his car, so then we had to. It was obviously covered in mud, so we washed it off. Then we realised it looked too clean. It was going to be suspicious. Then we had to get it dirty enough again.
So that's how they're not watching.
Yeah, if they definitely got better things to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got a story about that Volvo. When I wasn't there.
I've had the story about that Volvo.
Not that Volvo, another Volvo.
Yeah, the successor to that Volvo, sitting in the back, facing backwards, thinking, "Oh, just a gentle." It was a little bit cheeky, but yeah, a few of us in it, just only going down the road.
It's got seat
Next
belts
thing
in
you
the back,
know, nope.
Oh, really? You know how?
I don't think so.
Or is it only for children?
I could be wrong, but either way, you're facing backwards. Next thing you know, obviously all on a private road, you're doing
all of this happened on
the best part of 115 mile an hour, facing backwards, fearing for your life. Also, there's that private road near where you live.
Yeah. Oh, the A272 that they closed off.
Yeah, for that road race.
Yeah, I've got that. Yeah.
That was I think we
It's a Skoda Fabia.
There's a Skoda Fabia Volvo.
You just got yourself caught.
Yeah, I was
on
just
the
went.
same side, both on.
Standstill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you just
Someone waved us off.
like it was a bit awkward because you braked so you could pull in, he braked so you could pull in. So we ended up having to get faster and faster. So one of you could.
I don't know what mileage all this Volvo's on.
Go on, comment, Lloyd. What mileage was that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a bit of a high.
Lloyd had a BMW actually. You never saw it.
I've heard about
A
it.
lovely E30. Oh, Alex, I've got
Was it
this.
318i?
I've got this job in Brighton or something. I think Brighton. It might have been Brighton. Because I spent all my wages on this lovely E30. I only paid like 1,500 quid for it. It was wide, bargain. And wrapped it backwards into a lamppost within like a week of owning it. I only saw it once. What a dying waste.
Yeah, that's a shame.
It's a shame. A big old shame.
Perhaps we should do a section next week on high mileage heroes.
High mileage heroes.
Because we both love race cars, track cars, the high performance stuff. There's definitely a soft spot for some car that's just lived a hell of a long life.
I'd love to own like a 300,000 miler. Well, I suppose the big one's what? 310,000 or something, because that's 500,000 kilometres, isn't it?
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's a big one.
Would be, yeah.
Your Transit van, that's heading up to 200.
Yeah.
198, 8.
Yeah.
It's a pretty sight for that.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember. Yeah. Only had 100k on it.
Oh.
Jeez, how did you manage to trash a Volvo? How did you make a Volvo look that knackered with only 100k on it?
Just drive it flat out everywhere.
Yeah.
4 weeks to the day.
4 weeks, I don't believe it's 4 weeks.
Wouldn't know.
Yeah, just think there's 12 people watching. Well, one of them is Lloyd. Just like, who are they talking about?
13 now.
13 dropping like flies.
Yeah.
Well, it probably is time to go.
Yeah, it's probably home time to be honest. But yeah, we'll perhaps push asking questions a bit more this week. All this week coming has been flat out, but get some more questions in. And yeah, I'm definitely pretty keen to perhaps get some high mileage hero stories.
Yeah, if you know someone that is pushing like a 500,000 mile car, I want photos of it. Like if you send those photos in, we'll print them off. We'll do a little segment on it.
Yeah, yes. Tell us about the story, and we'll discuss it.
Nightmare. We were supposed to do a giveaway tonight.
We were.
Join in next week for a giveaway.
Tell you what, we'll choose a high mileage hero next week.
Yeah, highest mileage car gets a Hack Engineering goodie bag. Or if you know of, we need photos of the car. I want to be able to do an MOT check on it.
Yeah, can't be made up.
Can't be made up. And yeah, I need a photo of the speedo.
Yeah.
Photo of the odometer.
I like it.
Are you going to enter?
Yeah, I think I will. 250,000 miles is my highest mileage vehicle that I've owned. RIP. And I should say as well, I didn't mechanically die. I stuffed it through a hedge. So it could still be going. In fact, it is still going.
It is still going.
Someone bought it and it's going. But yeah.
Are taxis included? It's got to be a bit of an oddball taxi.
Yeah, it can't just be a Avensis or something.
Although I do like get you milking at the teat, that would.
I want to own 2 Avensis at once.
What's the plural of Avensis?
Avenside.
Yeah, I'll take taxis, but You ever got really pissed on a night out, getting a taxi and like really start going into the guy about
Yeah.
like the mechanicals of his
So
taxi
I remember,
and stuff like that?
Wasn't a taxi, but a friend's wedding. Had quite a few shandies and lemonades at this wedding, and it was a Rover 75.
We don't see many of them now.
So I got talking all about the M47R engine on the way back, while absolutely gazeboed, I believe the term is, and believe it or not, made a lot of sense. But he loved it. That was a high mileage
The
one.
Rover 75.
Mm.
You barely see them now.
No.
It was a prime choice for the elderly gentleman for quite some time, wasn't it?
Oh, it's lovely. It's like pale gold.
Oh yeah, like the champagne.
Yeah, with champagne leather interior. And
Longbridge mould, I think we're called. That colour.
yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. But yeah, anything high mileage. Tell you what, some high mileage petrols might be quite nice as well.
Oh yeah, you always get the high mileage diesels, but
yeah, I don't know what.
well, then the week after we'll do low mileage winners.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got this 1968 car.
BMW 2002.
Oh.
I
I didn't even talk about that 2002.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah, why not?
if we've got that next week, there could be
Got
some
it.
exciting
I'll
news.
send a text tonight, actually.
We've acquired a 2002
A pile
a pile.
of 2002.
Yeah, a 2002 that will fit in a dustpan and brush.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually, hopefully, looks like it's a very cool car. Should be nice to have a look around it, even if it's in 2 bits.
Yeah, I don't think it's just going to be a load of rust. to be honest.
Yeah, nice bit of history either way. But
Bloody hero!
that's what we're talking about.
Tune in next week. What's his name? Matt, send through some photos. We'll do a little segment on it.
Yeah,
Let's just devote the whole of next week's show to high mileage heroes. If we can get 6 or 7 prime examples.
Yeah, we'll happily talk through them.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially stuff like that. Over 250,000 miles, and you're still putting it on a dyno and kicking its teeth in. That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
And as I said last week, M52 reliable.
Boom.
Yeah, but there we go. We'll end it
Tune
there.
in next week.
Yeah, keep an eye out for posts on Instagram or a few days before the video goes live on YouTube. We put up the link and everything, so do feel free to comment on that, and we'll go through all your comments. Make sure to answer all your questions. Hopefully, have some good stories about some high mileage heroes.
See you next week.